We can't avoid it any longer. It's finally time. Before I start giving opinions, let's talk about little facts. This is Jane Doe. She is a rat. Oh, look at her go. That rat Thyron sure has some riz. But this rat is a cop. But also a physical anomaly agent. She makes assaults crit. And that's really all she does. She applies assault anomaly. She buffs her own stats. She enters different states. Essentially, she is Phys Anomaly. She makes Phys Anomaly do more damage. She's a DPS. So if you're new to Zenlesszonezero, this game has a mechanic called Anomaly. Characters in Zenlesszonezero all do 3 types of damage. They do damage, they do daze, and they apply Anomaly buildup. How do you maximize Anomaly damage? Anomaly uses every stat besides crit. So it uses attack, it uses damage, it uses Anomaly proficiency, it uses pen percent. It uses flat attack, it uses flat pen, it uses death shred. So unlike a transformative reaction in Genshin, you are not limited to only anomaly proficiency for damage. There is a build-up stat associated with anomaly proficiency. It is called Anomaly Mastery. Anomaly Mastery goes on your slot 6 drive, and it is just anomaly build-up rate. It's one of the only ways to get it. You will also notice that different enemies have different anomaly build-up thresholds. A boss enemy requires more anomaly attacks to trigger the anomaly. That's the TLDR for anomaly and how it works. Like, comment, subscribe. We're gonna try to do more Zenless content. More Genshin content is coming. Did you know most of you watching are not currently subscribed? You should subscribe. Okay, so when Jane attacks enemies, she builds up Passion Stream. When her passion stream is full, she enters the passion state. In the passion state, she applies more physical anomaly and her attack increases in a proportion with her anomaly proficiency. She also enables herself to use a new attack called Salcho Jump. This is an enhanced basic attack that you activate by holding basic attack. It is a spin with a little finisher at the end. It applies Phys Anomaly very similarly to her basic attacks, so there's nothing really that special about it, but it does slightly refill her passion gauge. Or passion stream, passion gauge is her little action bar. Every character has an action bar, but this is Jane's. There are many like it, but this one is hers. When Jane is in the passion state, her passion stream is depleted as she attacks enemies, except for the Salcho Jump, and it can be regenerated by dodge counter or defensive assist, but primarily dodge counter. When Jane applies assault, or when teammates with Jane also apply assault, the assault has a chance to crit for 50% at base. The crit rate of this increases with Jane's core and her current anomaly proficiency. If you have 420 anomaly proficiency, the crit rate is 100%, meaning that it is just 50% assault anomaly damage. The crit makes it sound fancy, but really it is just Jane's assaults do 50% more damage, and Jane makes assault do 50% more damage. The fact of it being a crit is entirely irrelevant, but it does sound cool. Her additional ability is activated by anomaly or faction. This is important because if you are not playing Jane with a second anomaly agent, you have to use Seth. There's no one else from the faction you would really put into Jane team. What happens? What do you lose out on if you don't have this active? It is 20% assault anomaly buildup, an additional 15% when enemies are already suffering from an anomaly. So it's 35% anomaly buildup rate. This is not insignificant, but sometimes maybe you can get away without it. You probably shouldn't. You're asking to struggle, but some people really don't like using Seth. Personally, I don't get it. Seth is an underrated agent. Fight me, square up. Seth is underrated. Seth is better for Yanagi, but don't tell anyone. Bruh. Because Jane is an anomaly agent, her skills don't directly contribute to damage as much as an attack agent or any other class of agent, but they do contribute days. So you still need to level her basics, her dodge, her special, her chain. It still has to happen. They don't need to be leveled as much, but they still do want to be leveled. Jane is a on-field DPS. That is how she is played. That is what she wants to do. That is how she works. People talk a lot about characters that are easy to play. And honestly, I feel like people conflate high damage with easy to play. Jane is genuinely the easiest agent to play in the game. No matter what you do, you're building up Assault Anomaly as long as she's on field, and you can't really make a ton of mistakes. Limited time windows don't exactly matter that much. Jane is actually an easy character to play. And I feel like that's why people like playing Jane so much, even if they don't get the best performance out of her. Some techs you can do to get damage out of Jane are standard stuff like double chain or chain tech reset, dodge parry cancels, or DP. This is all kind of standard and familiar ways to optimize gameplay. She's just kind of really straightforward. I don't exactly have much to say about her gameplay because of it. I need to tell you guys about this game I've been playing a ton of off stream. This is Ecopolis. Look at all of these girls. There are hundreds of unique kimono girls. I'm not kidding. Look at the screen right now. Do you see them? Oh my god. I think I need Cuba. Do you see her? God damn! I didn't even mention the combat yet. I've been taking it very casually and rolling out with a squad of kimono girls. I can't help it. Did you see them? But there's tons of room for creative team building and optimization. I've spent equally as much time in combat as I have with the robust base building features. This is a great way to spend more time with the girls, and it's just really relaxing. One of my favorite features this game has for new players is the ability to roll 100 pulls and pick a specific 10 pull to get the result you want. This is a great way to start the game with a specific SSR character. If there is one you like, you can get them. Join me today with the gift code on screen and download in the video description. This is the part of the video where I give a hot take. Jane is essentially our second Ellen. I'm sorry, it's kind of true. That being said, there are tons of ways to get more out of Jane, and they're primarily related to team building than they are gameplay, as well as gearing. Jane has incredible Mindscapes. Jane has an S-rank engine. There are ways to get damage out of Jane, but it is very difficult for me to recommend Jane as a solo Anomaly carry, meaning like 2 supports. It's just very difficult for me to recommend at this point in time. So a lot of this video is going to be focused on Jane with a second Anomaly agent, whether that be Bernice or Vivian, doesn't exactly matter. The advice will be the same. We are now talking about engines. This is Sharp and Stinger. This is Jane's S-rank engine. Now, it is hard to gauge exactly how good this engine is because it can have downtime since it requires dash attacks or dodge counters. And it's very common to drop the uptime on, or to drop uptime on this during the stun state or stun window. But no, it doesn't always give. It does give a physical Anomaly build-up rate, which is important because most of the other none of the other engine options do that. None of the other engine options do that. So we have to mention it. It is 40% Anomaly build-up rate. Doesn't downtime if you know what you're doing. To maintain uptime on this engine during stun, you'll want to know to add a dash attack at some point in the middle of the duration just to keep uptime on this engine. It also gives 36 damage bonus. It's got 714 base. It's an Anomaly proficiency main stat, so plus 90 on that. It gives a lot of stats. It's quite good for Jane's own damage. It is the best option for Jane's own damage, and the build-up rate can be significant. Because, as I talked about in the Vivian video, because build-up rate is only on S-rank engines, specifically a character's own S-rank engine, it becomes very hard to put an exact number to the difference because Anomaly build-up is threshold-based. An Anomaly that is 90% of the way from being activated does 0 damage. So it's just complicated. So I'm not comfortable putting firm numbers to it, but Sharp and Stinger is quite good. Ladies and gentlemen of the audience, we are here today to honor the fallen. This is Time Weaver. Time Weaver is Yanagi's S-rank engine. It is still debatably better than the A rank engines, but this is breaking news. They just decided to make this change for the content creator server, and it will ship over to 1.7. Timeweaver will no longer apply universal anomaly buildup rate. What it does still do is it still gives 75 anomaly proficiency, it still gives 30% attack, and it still gives 25% disorder damage. The 25% disorder damage is interesting because effectively this makes agents that are not Jane do more damage at the cost of Jane's own damage. And now Jane's own buildup. So while this engine used to be better than Sharp and Stinger on Jane in any team with a second anomaly agent, debatably, it is no longer the case. So, sucks. It is what it is. I really thought they wouldn't change it. They decided to. Oh well. Rest in peace, Timeweaver. You had a good run. Other engine options. Electro Lip Gloss is the Battle Pass engine. It's alright. Definitely works. It's the best A rank engine option. Similarly to the Electro Lip Gloss is the Fusion Compiler. Fusion Compiler requires you to use Jane's EX or non-EX special attack to get the buff stacked up, but it is a pen ratio main stat. It does give 12 attack percent. It has a high base attack. It's generally going to be all right and competitive with the other A rank engine options. This is Weeping Gemini. This is the craftable. Tell Susie I said hi. Susie top tier. Where is my playable Susie? This is Weeping Gemini. It's great. It's the craftable option. Yes, Weeping Gemini is better than Rainforest Gourmet. That's just how it is. Weeping Gemini is great. Drive discs. We're still recommending 4-piece Fanged Metal. It's 45 damage bonus essentially. That's what it is. Other options, you can technically use Hormone Punk on Jane, but really it's kind of just Fang Metal. It's recommended 2 pieces are a bit more interesting. So they just released this set called Faith on Melody in the last few updates. This set is 2-piece Anomaly Mastery. Generally speaking, I find Jane to have the best results with 2-piece Faith on Melody for the 8% Anomaly Mastery. I think it is better than the other options, being 2-piece AP or 2-piece pen, or even 2-piece attack. So I'll throw that out there. It's not mandatory. You can still use 2-piece AP or 2-piece pen, but I find Anomaly Mastery to be the better 2-piece. And this is because of how Anomaly works and how it's threshold based. You are likely to get additional assaults with the 2-piece Anomaly Mastery. Main stats, she's an Anomaly agent. It's Anomaly Proficiency, Anomaly Mastery, slots 4 and 6. Slot 5 can be any of the 3. If you play with Astra, technically pen percent is the best one, but they're all so similar that it really doesn't matter. Teams. So I brushed on this earlier. I don't recommend playing Jane as her own Anomaly DPS, but you certainly can, and I still will cover those teams for the people interested. Just know that I don't really recommend them. What I do recommend is Jane, Astra, Vivian. If you do not have Astra, you can use Nicole or Caesar here. Jane, Astra, Bernice. If you do not have Astra, you can use Nicole or Caesar or Lucy here. So those are the things, or those are the 2. Jane has 2 Anomaly partners. They are Vivian and Bernice. I am currently of the belief that Vivian is better than Bernice or Jane, but we will see with time and matchups. If you already have Bernice, maybe wait a few days and see what people have to say about Vivian and what kind of results people are getting. If you are a Mindscape puller, Vivian's Mindscapes are much better than Bernice's. Specifically, Vivian's M1 is very good for Jane. Check out the Vivian video for more information. Vivian video. Vivian Vives V-Shells by the V-Shore. If you don't know how to play Jane with Vivian, Vivian wants to defensive assist as much as possible, essentially, because that generates Vivian's resources. Jane will apply more anomaly buildup than Vivian, so you are unlikely to have perfect disorders, but you'll be getting a blooms anyway, so it doesn't matter. Jane's essentially bonus anomaly mechanic, which is the crit, interacts with Vivian in a super positive way, getting more damage out of Vivian's core abilities than other agents would normally. If you are dedicated to playing Jane as her own DPS, the default full A rank team is Jane, Seth, and Nicole. If you're looking to make upgrades to this, you could play Jane, Seth, Astra, or Jane, Seth, Let's go with that. Yeah. Jane, Seth, Rena. Yep. It's definitely an option. If you do play Nicole, you don't want pen ratio on Jane, you would use attack or fizz percent. That's fine. Pretty straightforward. So that's Jane. You can still clear Deadly Assault bosses with Jane 3 stars. It's just very difficult and you may need to optimize your gameplay to do it. So don't feel bad if you're struggling, but it is possible. A large part of that is because of a lack of Fizz weak boss encounters in the Deadly Assault lineups. I feel like we say the same thing every time, but it's true. Weakness matters, especially for Anomaly agents. Actually, it just matters in general because it affects days. It just matters. It matters a lot. So yeah, it is what it is. Hopefully we get Fizz challenges in the future. So another way to get more, I guess you could say, mileage out of a Jane is Mindscapes. If you pulled Jane and still want to play her, her Mindscapes can help keep her relevant. Jane specifically is an M1, very good M2. If you don't know, Jane's M1 is an extra 15% anomaly buildup and 30 damage bonus. It's all right. 12-14% damage increase without accounting for the buildup. It's not bad. M2 is assaults ignore 15% of enemy defense, and assault crits go up to 100% from 50%. So the assaults do a third more damage and they ignore 50% of enemy def. M1 plus M2 ends up being around 60% damage increase for Jane. Jane's M3 doesn't do anything because she's an anomaly agent. Jane's M4 is 18% assault damage. And this also applies to all squad members' anomalies. So it's just 18% more anomaly damage. This is significant when you play Jane with Bernice or Vivian, because they will also be doing additional damage. M5 doesn't do anything. M6, whenever M6 makes Jane do additional damage whenever an assault is activated. It also gives Jane crit rate and crit damage, which makes her skills do more damage as well. The anomaly proficiency damage on M6 technically counts as skill damage, so it uses her crit stats instead of her anomaly proficiency stats, but it uses anomaly proficiency instead of attack. So it's a little confusing, but this is not, it's a little confusing. This is extra damage. It also makes crit rate and crit damage subs all better than they normally are on Jane. It doesn't change her stat priority that much, but you can have more crit rate on her. The key Mindscapes are M1, M2, and I guess M4, but really it's M1, M2. That's Jane. Jane may not have held up as well as someone like GN, but that's all right. Jane's still really cool. She's really fun. She's very easy to play. There are a ton of advantages to playing Jane if you're willing to put in the work. If you're asking me if I would recommend pulling Jane, I would not unless you specifically like Jane and are aware of her potential weaknesses. But that's okay. Sometimes having fun with the character you like trumps all. And we need to talk more about that.